I'm Kelsey, and this
that's
is Dixie, and we're Love Hut for Life. We've been living on the road for 29 weeks now in our Truckbed Tinyhouse.
And finally, we're coming to you from a national forest, the MALHEUR National Forest in eastern Oregon.
That's right, we have traveled a lot this week. And for you, that means that we found 7 incredible boondocking spots to share with you. All of those are from western Nevada through northern California and almost all the way through Oregon now. We're moving fast.
So if you like these, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that thumbs up button and follow us along on our journey.
And don't forget to share it with all your friends. Enjoy, guys.
We covered a lot of ground this week through different climates, ecosystems, and terrain.
We left you last week at Walker Lake in western Nevada, where we had been hanging out on the beach for several days. Over the last 100 years, this lake has dropped 180 feet. Sad because it means it's dying, but it does present some really awesome boondocking spots all along what they call the 20-mile beach.
There was an unusually large storm for this time of year coming through, so we drove about 100 miles northwest to get closer to California and still hunker down to get through this storm. That drive brought us within close proximity to a rock formation called the Moon Rocks. This is huge in the off-roading community, but not really our bag, so we settled down in the desert and took 60-mile-an-hour winds to the face all night.
Yet again, another beautiful boondocking spot, even if it was a little closer to human interaction than we're generally used to. We thought that they were all leaving because it was Sunday, and that's when most people leave these spots, but there was a big storm coming our way that they knew about and we didn't. We hunkered down and let yet another storm pass, but after that, we were ready to get back on the road, this time headed straight for California.
The rain held off long enough for us to get off the dirt roads, but then it was back to play again. We basically drove through those types of conditions the rest of our time in Nevada. We've been in this state much longer than we ever intended on being. Absolutely beautiful place, but we were scared that we would be stopped or not be allowed to enter into another state. Turns out, didn't even see a border crossing at all going into California.
For those of you that don't know, that is rather strange because usually there are fruit and vegetable checkpoints that you have to go into when you enter the state. I'm not sure how long we've been allowed to do this, but I do know we are out of the desert, out of Nevada, and into California and amongst these beautiful trees.
After about 100 miles, we arrived at our third beautiful boondocking spot for the week, and that was the PLUMAS National Forest. There's trees. There's whole ones. There's giant pine trees. There's hardwoods. There's squirrels. There's deer. This place is amazing.
If you can't tell, all 3 of us were pretty excited to say goodbye to the desert and hello to this beautiful slice of heaven. As beautiful as it was out there, we knew that we were in for a much colder night than we're used to. So we pulled the onesies out of retirement and snuggled up for the night.
The next morning, we were sad to leave this place, but we had a whole lot of miles to cover, so we were back on the road again.
Hitting the road this early in the morning isn't so bad when you know that this is what you get to drive through.
This place was the cat's pajamas, man. The trees just kept going, and I was pissed when I had to leave them.
He's not exaggerating. There was literal pouting going on, but it wasn't long before we found some more trees in the MODOC National Forest.
And here is where we found our 4th beautiful boondocking spot of the week. Pretty, ain't it?
Big Sage Recreation Area looks like a paid campground, but guys, you know that's not our style. It just happens to be a very well-maintained piece of public property.
We spent our morning by the lake, but eventually we had to leave this spot too.
That's right, it was time to head to our 15th state of this journey. We had made it to Oregon, where apparently it's illegal to pump your own gas.
Our friends Dave and Carrie from One Adventure at a Time grew up in this region, and they were kind enough to lend us one of their favorite boondocking spots.
That led us to HART Mountain, where there were some natural hot springs that we just couldn't wait to dip our toes in.
The drive up that mountain was an epic one, but man was that hill steep.
It was a very steep mountain, and at the top of it, we found this. We had been Rona'd again. Luckily, there was some BLM land just 20 miles away, so off through the Antelope Refuge we drove.
That road was so well maintained that the grading almost rattled the house to pieces, but that bumpy road led us to our number 5 beautiful boondocking spot this week.
It was a long day's drive, but we had a sweet little piece of waterfront property to sit back and enjoy an incredible sunset. The next morning, it was time to say goodbye and hit the road again, heading even further north. We had yet again another 200 miles or so to cover that day, and we were absolutely determined to find those trees again.
We did have a lot of miles to cover, but when we saw this sign, we couldn't help but take the detour and see what was back there. The answer was a muy bueno vista.
It wasn't long after that we found our trees again in the MALHEUR National Forest. It was up that long, windy, beautiful road that we found our 6th absolutely incredible boondocking spot of the week. We nosed in right in front of Trout Creek and prepared to hear this absolutely beautiful waterfall all night long.
This spot was like a Tolkien novel, but it wasn't long before we were forced inside.
We went to sleep to the sound of freezing rain hitting our new roof and woke up in a winter wonderland.
You know, I generally don't make it a habit to wear my glasses when I sleep, so when Kelsey woke me up saying it snowed, I didn't believe her until I put them on. This place is like night and day difference with the light snow.
Of course, we took the time to play around and goof off in the snow a bit, but eventually it was time to say goodbye and hit the road again. What an incredible drive it was this morning, though.
We eventually made it out of that snow because we had over 100 miles to travel that day. That led us to leaving the forest, traveling through a valley, and eventually coming back into the same one.
The only actual camping on Lake Magone was a paid campsite that we wouldn't have stayed at even if it wasn't closed for Corona. Just a few miles up the road, though, we found our 7th absolutely beautiful boondocking spot of the week.
Snow, trees, and mud all surrounding me and Kelsey, we are definitely in our happy place, and I love spending every moment of this trip with her and all the magical places that this house takes us to. What an awesome way to finish a week.
As we told you, we were moving crazy fast. You definitely want to go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any of the incredible boondocking spots in our future. Our plan is to head north.
And as she mentioned, hitting that subscribe button, we appreciate each and every one of you that actually have hit that button. And thanks for following along with us, and we hope to see you next week.
You guys are the coolest. Thanks for watching, and thanks for supporting us. Peace out. See you next week.
Bye, y'all.